Need to lose weight? Want to start the new year right? Then call Physicians Weight Loss Center of Myrtle Beach for a free initial consultation. 843-293-9333. Physicians Weight Loss Center of Myrtle Beach. Proud sponsor of Myrtle Beach FC. Welcome to MySoccerShow.com. Brought to you by MySoccerUSA.com. The most beautiful game. Now you run the show. Sign up today. And now, live from our studios on the Grand Strand, your host, Tristan Patterson.
Yes, you're on with Tristan Patterson on MySoccerShow.com. I am your absolutely excited, freezing cold host, Tristan Patterson. And we got a special guest. Last week we had Patrick Thunder Olulari, Coach Thunder, the new coach of Myrtle Beach FC, the awesome, powerful striker. And today we go from our awesome coach to Qiana Martin, who was a attorney hiring specialist, and now is, and I'm going to mention all these things, Qiana. It's so many things. I'm sure you have a couple more to add. You're a international athlete, global soccer ambassador, owner of EatSoccer.net, Fila Spokemodel, and you have spare time in there somewhere, right?
I do have some spare time to do more soccer stuff.
To do more soccer stuff. That's awesome. Welcome to the show. We're excited to have you on. And you are from South Carolina originally, right?
I am, and I'm a huge, huge fan of the Grand Strand area because I just love Myrtle Beach. So thank you so much for having me.
So you've been to I'm sure you've gone to the beach in Myrtle Beach a couple of times before, right?
Oh yes. Love the beach there.
Absolutely. So, Qiana, we're talking about today. You tell us a little bit about you. You, like I mentioned in the beginning here, attorney hiring specialist. First of all, what is that, and then how do you go from that to being involved in soccer?
Well, pretty much as attorney hiring specialist, I work for a very large national law firm based in Atlanta, and I used to do all the recruiting and party planning for the summer associates, which are law student clerks and lateral attorneys that we were going to hire at the firm. And I had a passion to play the sport. I originally, kind of regained an interest in it when I was in Los Angeles. Started playing pickup with guys, and it just kind of took off from there, and relocated to Atlanta to figure out how I could pursue this dream of traveling the world playing soccer.
So had you played in high school? Had you played when you were in youth? I mean, in South Carolina, did you play when you were a kid?
Well, I had very limited exposure to the sport. I'm originally from Seneca, which is in the upstate, of population of about 7,000 people. So my first soccer experience was on pretty much an all-boys team. And I think I was about 6 years old. And then soccer went away, and it was totally basketball and every other traditional sport you can think of. But then some girls petitioned to get a varsity soccer team at our school, and I joined the team just because I thought it would improve my endurance for basketball. And I loved it actually more than basketball, but I was like, what am I going to do with this? It's my last 2 years, and even during that brief time of not really having as much technical development, I just enjoyed the sport. I think I made like all region or something, and it was just really great. And I was like, well, if I had time back, I would do something about it, and just put it on the shelf and went to college. And after college, when I was in Los Angeles, just started playing pickup, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let the past prevent me from possibly creating a great future, and that's how it all started.
And so you go from there. You said, all right, I'm done working. I'm going to go. And what was your next step? I mean, what was your next step in following your dream?
Well, as I mentioned, I started playing in Los Angeles with guys, and so I did that for about a year, and then I made the decision to move to Atlanta. So I thought, there's a lot of residual personnel and people left over from the Olympics, no telling who I can hook up with or hook into. And so when I moved to Atlanta, I didn't necessarily have a set plan, but I knew that if I patterned my training, speed, agility, and athletic training after, other famous athletes of traditional sports, what do they do? Who do they train with? What are some of their training protocols? I could get myself in shape enough to start to plug myself into soccer opportunities. And in addition to that, I read a book about Brazilian soccer principles and wrote the author and asked him if he would train me. And he said yes, and I went down to Boca Raton for 2 weeks to live with a Brazilian family on one of my vacations from work, and it just snowballed after that.
So you go. You're in Atlanta. You read this book. You're in Atlanta at the time, right?
Yes, I'm in Atlanta.
And you read this book, and you get inspired to, just continue on. You take the break. Do you end up? Where do you end up next? Do you go to Brazil? Do you stay here and train?
A couple of months after, while I was down there, they were very impressed with how rapidly I was able to develop my technical ability in such a short period of time. There's a men's program, and they, said, Qiana, you should consider coming to Brazil. And, in my mind, I was still thinking, like, well, how am I going to be able to maintain this job here and then go to another country? And he sent me an email like a month or two later and said, this team is interested in having you come down to play. What's it going to be? And I said, you know what? I'm going to put in my letter of resignation and go. So my original plan was to go down there for 3 months. I ended up staying 5, and it was amazing.
Wow, and people always have we all have dreams, and for us to, or for someone to listening, thinking about this, to give up your income, your steady income. Your steady job, right? To follow your dream is, you had to be terrified almost, right?
Yeah, it was. Some people think I'm very fly by the seat of your pants, but I actually have kind of a plan of action in place. So I had some things saved. I had some other investments and stuff put in place so that, when I moved away from my traditional job, I could, do so with a little more comfort. So were there some hiccups along the way?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the beauty of an adventure and a journey in a foreign country. But, it's worked out.
So you're there, so you go there for 5 months, and, what's kind of the reaction? What are these guys and the women? And, Brazil may know a thing or two about soccer, right?
No, they definitely know a lot about soccer.
You're an American, you pick up the game kind of late. What's their kind of attitude towards you as you're kind of going along?
Well, one thing they know about American players, especially female American players, they're held in such high regard because they're considered the premier, country for the female aspect of the game. And so they were expecting me, of course, to send balls all the way down the field. And when I first got there, I would do it, and they were so amazed, like, you know what, she really can kick that ball. But I knew going in there, like, Brazil is known for their small-sided play, technical wizardry, and that was what I was really going to learn. And so they were a little surprised, I guess, after a couple of weeks when I started, making shorter passes and things like that, because I really, wanted to learn from them how they play and not necessarily, what I had learned back home.
Absolutely. And Qiana, you have a website. It's QIANA Martin, MARTIN.com, QianaMartin.com, right?
That's correct.
And folks can go on there and they can learn all about you, learn kind of about your story. And there's something else you got really cool. It's called Soccer Mental 90, which we'll get to and talk about in a minute. But folks can actually go to our website, mysoccershow.com, and we'll have a link on there. They can click on that. They can purchase that. We'll talk more about that in a second. We'll talk more about how you went from Brazil, how you came up here, became a Fila Spokemodel, eatsoccer.net, all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial, and you're going to stick with us through it, right?
Yeah.
All right, absolutely. You're listening to mysoccershow.com with your host, Tristan Patterson. We'll be right back.
Have you ever been online and visited a website where they're giving away something great in sweepstakes? Or played a scratch and win game online? Ever wonder if people really do win those prizes? We can tell you they do win prizes, both big and small. The trick is knowing which sweeps to enter and how to enter them. SweepingFriends.com is here for you. We have a sweepstakes university where you can learn the tips and tricks by chatting with seasoned sweepstakers and watching our video tutorials. Best of all, it's free. SweepingFriends.com is an educational website where new sweepers and even advanced ones can learn something new and better their chances of winning. So visit SweepingFriends.com and start learning how to win big.
Can I get in? It was not only a question that I posed to the sport of soccer, but one that I put forth to a group of West Indian and Latin American guys in a Los Angeles park one day. I was a different gender, different ethnicity, and I grew up 3,000 miles away. So you can imagine the strange looks that they gave me. But I had a ball, and that ball sealed the deal.
That is Qiana Martin speaking at the TEDx Greenville. Embrace the universal language of soccer. An awesome public speaker she is. You can learn more about her at QianaMartin.com or visit MySoccerShow.com, and we'll have some links up there to find out more about her. Qiana, so when we left you, you are in Brazil for 5 months. You are learning the completely different game of soccer in Brazil versus America, and you're training with the guys. You're learning your thing. What where do you go from there? What's kind of the next step in your progression?
Well, the next step for me was just to continue traveling and playing internationally, and my experience in Brazil taught me that there's a couple of different sports that they incorporate into the training. When I trained 6 days, we trained 6 days a week with the women's club there, and a couple of days were on grass, other days were in sand, and the remaining days were on court. And so futsal, foot volley, beach soccer were all things that was incorporated into our training as a traditional soccer player. And so those were things that I wanted to continue exploring. And so since my time in Brazil, I've gone down to Colombia to train with the national men's foot volley team there. I've been to Portugal playing futsal with the training with 2 men's clubs there. And actually have started to offer opportunities for other young adults to do the same there so they can get a taste of playing in another culture. So I'm just continuing to build my international resume. I'm hoping to go back to South America soon to start playing again with another club and maybe transition to Europe after that. But I still have that goal to play for the national team, and I believe it's going to happen.
And I'm sure our listeners out there are thinking 2 things right now. First of all, what position do you play?
Actually, when I went to Brazil, I was a midfielder.
Gotcha.
I got there, and they wanted me to play, become a defender, because in their system, they're able to send defenders forward and bring them back and things like that, and my height and ability to be able to mark players. Since that time, I've actually moved to striker, and I absolutely love it.
Oh, you're a striker like our last guest. The Coach Thunder. He's a striker. He can maybe you can come down and he can use you and you can teach him a thing or two, right?
I don't know about that. I think he still has lots to teach me.
Well, the other thing is did you pick up the languages while you were there? I mean, did you?
I did. Falo Português, mais ou menos. I had to be able to eat. So for 5 months, it was very important because the majority of my teammates did not speak any English whatsoever.
Yeah, so you got to be able to communicate with them, right?
So we had to be able to communicate, and I was able for 10 weeks to teach some of the younger girls English because it was very important for them to be able to have the ability to leave Brazil to go play in other countries for college, because that would enable them to be able to help their families and things like that. So it was a really good exchange for everyone.
Gotcha.
For the players there and for myself as well.
So it sounds like you had a lot of fun. You've been successful. I mean, what soccer-wise are you doing right now? You're in LA now, right?
I'm actually in Atlanta doing some community service outreach projects with soccer here in the inner city with kids here in Atlanta. So I'm doing that. I have some larger projects I really can't talk about with some other international companies that are going to continue to spread the message of soccer, continuing to put out more downloadable products to help missionaries, especially American missionaries, who do not necessarily play the sport of soccer or understand it, but allow them to be able to harness the sport of soccer to communicate their messages to people all over the world, since it's the world's favorite sport. So
absolutely,
just being able to plug in soccer kind of in the background of people's mind in their everyday living. Because if you notice here in the U.S., we play soccer. Everywhere else in the world, soccer is just a part of their culture, a part of life. And it would be nice if we could have something like that similar going on here.
Absolutely. And, the kind of closest thing I guess we have is American football. But even that, from someone who's been overseas also, it's not even American football, the way we're passionate about that, is not even close. Not anywhere as close to the passion and love of the game and what it is to the cultures in other countries, right?
and how it can bring people together. I've carried soccer balls all over the place, and anywhere from being in Colombia and coming across drug enforcement officers to people in taxi cabs in New York City. When they see my soccer ball, their disposition changes, and they automatically consider me a friend and start talking to me about soccer. I mean, it's just amazing how that ball can really transform people.
Absolutely. And you know, so let's go to the Fila BTS spokesmodel. Tell us a little bit about how all that happened.
Well, it so happened that I was on Twitter one day and was talking to one of my friends, and I said, you know what, I would like to do some stuff with a major athletic company, and that was something on my list to do. And it so happened they were looking for inspirational stories to profile to their customers, and I sent a submission in about, you know, my love of soccer and how soccer has allowed me to do so many things, and they loved it. And 2 weeks later, I was being shot by celebrity photographer David Drebin in their national ad campaign. So
it's almost as if you almost will it. I mean, you say it and then it happens, and you go and make it happen. Really, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I do the vision boards. I do, you know, the mental visualizations, which is something why I created that product, Soccer Mental 90. It's really important that you can see in your mind's eye what you want to happen.
Absolutely.
There's been so much research done on it that 90% of our competition is mental, and the other 10% is actually physical. And when you think about that, we're doing all the physical things. But sometimes when we hear people in the crowd yelling unlucky when we miss a shot, or when we think it to ourselves, as opposed to seeing ourselves, regrouping, and taking a good shot, making a good pass, and things like that, that can be the difference between the win and the loss.
So you're making things happen. What is your next step? What is the next step for Qiana Martin? You know, what are you going to do next, and what are you going to will next for you?
Well, next, just to continue growing my platform so that I can inspire others to live their dreams within the sport of soccer and introduce more, you know, youth and adults to the sport in a way that's convenient for them, and, you know, inspire people outside of the sport just to pursue their dreams. If I'm able to accomplish those things and, you know, somewhat be a female equivalent of Pele and his ambassadorship, then I think my job will be done.
Absolutely. And are there any plans to play on any organized teams or anything?
Yeah, I still continue to do that, and I'm hoping to do that probably in the next, month, 2 months. So.
Awesome. And, you know, so you've done all these awesome things, and one of the coolest things you've got going on is Soccer Mental 90, which is an iTunes download. You create it for soccer players, you know, and, you know, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what that can do and why folks should go on there. It's 10 minutes, and it's only 99 cents.
That's right. It's a download that you can listen to while you're, you know, doing your homework or while you're getting ready to go to sleep, and it just goes over affirmations in your mind so you can start to visualize seeing yourself doing all the wonderful things that you can do with the ball. And that's really important, because when we're out there playing on the field, our minds are in the game. It's either telling us you're doing a good job, or it's beating us up. Oh, you should have done this better. You should have done this better. And it's helping us to be able to be our best advocate and not our worst critic.
Absolutely. And you know, going back for a second for what you talked about the mental aspect of it, you know, Michael Jordan trained the same way that you know, John Johnson trained, you know, but you know who Michael Jordan is, and you know who David Beckham is, and you know Landon and Donovan. There's a whole other aspect. I mean, we're all training the same muscles the same way, and it's not about lucky or breaks. It's about making it happen, and the thought process, like you've obviously accomplished, right?
Yeah, and I'm seeing, especially during my time in Brazil, I would see players who are not as technically proficient as other ones, but because they felt, well, I have this confidence and this style and this flamboyance because I'm Brazilian, automatically you could see them outperforming players that had a better technical ability than them from other countries.
Absolutely.
So just be able to mentally develop yourself where you feel that sense of confidence to do certain things with the ball and keep going, you know, for the ball and things like that, it definitely pays off.
And for our listeners, this is Qiana Martin from QuianaMartin.com. She's an awesome international athlete, spokesmodel. I mean, all these different things. I don't know how you have even time to come on the show, but we appreciate you doing so. For our listeners out there, the rural area that we're in has, soccer is just starting to pick up and grow bigger here. If you have any questions about the beautiful game, you can go to her website and ask away. You'll answer people's questions directly, right?
That's correct. I've answered questions from parents and players in Europe and South America and Africa, so feel free to use me as a resource. I want to, my experience is just not for me alone. It's for me to share it with others so I can inspire you to achieve your dreams as well.
Absolutely. So it's QianaMartin.com, and for the links for that and for the Soccer Mental 90, which I will absolutely be downloading, Qiana, I promise, because I can't wait to listen to it. It's going to be awesome. It's 10 minutes for 99 cents of being able to, we all should inspire to be a little bit more like you. We make things happen, and that's what we're all about, right?
Yes, right. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. I'm Tristan Patterson with MySoccerShow.com. That's Qiana Martin, QianaMartin.com, or MySoccerShow.com. We have her link on there. Check her out. Awesome young lady.
Sorry about that technical difficulties, but we will be right back with one of the tryout attendees. It's awesome. Stick around one more minute.
NWA Anarchy Wrestling, professional wrestling promotion based in Cornelia, Georgia, and promoting events throughout North Georgia. The broadcasting team of Tim, letter E, period D, and John the Body Johnson. Check out new TV episodes on the AMG network as well as the Wrestle Network. NWA Anarchy Professional Wrestling. Check us out on Facebook as well as www.nwaanarchy.net. TV tapings twice a month. See such stars as Slim J, Shadow Jackson, Seven, Jeff G, Bailey, Brody Ray Chase, and much more. Log on right now to nwaanarchy.net. And it's all another NWA Anarchy Pro Wrestling promotion.
I'm ready.
How you feeling, mate?
Number 15, Stars and Stripes, baby. He's ready.
What if you found a Rocky who played soccer?
I knew the biggest barrier to entry with Jay would be being American. So I know what our mentality is like in this country.
The percentage of lads that we take in to actually make it in a Premiership is probably less than 1%.
We thought Jay was crazy going to England.
Number 5, the big scorer, Jay DeMerit, a forward.
What if an unheralded American tried to fight his way into big-time English football?
When I first came to Europe, I think I had about $1,800.
He was so raw. He was very, very green.
And I used to pretend like these were players. So I used to kind of take the ball and I would and then I'd kick around it.
It was funny because Jay was subbed the first, second division Sunday league.
I knew that he was struggling because he came back after the first year with no money to his name.
What if determination could overpower expectation?
Everyone was talking about a couple of forwards we had, and I said, who's a centre-half?
We couldn't believe what we were seeing.
It is a match worth millions of pounds for a place in the Premiership.
He said to me, take as many pictures as you can, because I might never be here again.
What if he stood one step away from the promised land?
All right, you're back with the MySoccerShow.com with your host, Tristan Patterson. And, what a great way to segue into our next guest. The Jay DeMerit story is so powerful, so inspirational. A young American going overseas and with heart and determination accomplishing his goals. And then Jay went on. He's up there in Vancouver now playing for the Vancouver Whitecaps and doing a great job in the MLS. And, we had for Myrtle Beach FC, we just had the first kind of round of tryouts, kind of scouting to see what's going on for the big day, which is January 28th, 1:30, the Market Common Fields, YMCA Fields out there in Myrtle Beach SC. That's the big tryout day. But before that, we had the deal with GSS, Grand Strand Soccer, and Sarah, our wonderful partner down there, where we're going to come out and check out the talent at Grand Strand Soccer Adult League. And Coach Thunder was impressed by some guys, and one of them was Robert Jamie Baker. Goes by Jamie. Jamie, thank you so much for being on with us, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about you first, man. Tell us where you're from and how you got down to the beach, what position you play, and what you want to play. And
I'm originally from Wingate, North Carolina. I played goalkeeper my whole life until I got into high school. Got a soccer scholarship to play at Brevard College in North Carolina in the mountains, and decided I didn't like the mountains all that much, and I moved to Myrtle Beach, and God's blessed me with this opportunity coming up on the 28th with Myrtle Beach FC.
Absolutely, man. And so you played goalkeeper most of your life, but when you're in college, you played forward, right?
Yes, I did. Didn't see much playing time on the field as I was. I've always been having to overcome all, everybody saying you're too small to do this, too small to do that. But it doesn't really bother me. Whenever I get on the field, I make my presence known.
Well, Jamie, tell us how. I wasn't going to bring it up as a short guy myself. I wasn't going to say nothing. But how tall are you, man?
I'm only actually 5'6" on a good day, wearing studs.
So you're 5'6". It's a little bit smaller than most goalkeepers, and it's smaller than most mainstream athletes, really. But you were out there. You're out there, and you determine yourself anyway. And that's why I'm saying this promo. Playing our sponsor, which is the Jada Merritt story, Rise and Shine, the Jada Merritt story. Who we're gonna have director Nick Lewis on here in the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll have a screening of this movie down in Myrtle Beach. But it's such a great segue because Jada Merritt overcame such things, and the best part about that is they mentioned what if there was a Rocky who played soccer, man, and to anybody who kind of the epitome of that is you, man. I mean, you're a small feisty guy.
Yeah, and whenever I was actually listening to it, I was like, it gave me goosebumps because my dream to grow up, I told my parents I want to be in England by the time I'm 20. That's where I want to be. And God takes you through different places in your life, and it might still, it could still happen, but I'm working hard every day to be the best that I can be at this sport, and it's opened so many doors.
Hey, absolutely, man, and you've been training. You told me you've been training and working out, and you've been running and preparing for January 28th tryouts, and you told me off the air that you didn't want to let this opportunity slip by, and you wanted to do everything possible to make sure it happened. So what else are you doing out there? You running, you're exercising, you're trying to make sure you're mentally and physically fit and ready to go?
Oh yeah, every day I'm working out with a guy. Name is Teddy Mafeer. Shout out to him. He's taught me so much in the last few months, more than I've ever learned in my life about the game and how to take it mentally. Physically, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm the best shape that I've ever been in my life, and I'm still not where I want to be. I know what it takes to get there. And basically, that's more what I'm working on than anything, because the soccer's going to come. I just want to get my body ready and my mind ready.
Absolutely. And Jamie, give a shout out to your boys on your team. What team do you play on in GSS?
Oh yeah, GSS Rangers. We're coming for everybody. I just want to let everybody know that we had a rocky start, but we're coming.
Did y'all pull out the win on Saturday? I can't even remember.
We actually tied 3-3 against the blue team. Shout out to them too as well. They've got some great players. That was a really class act team. They weren't dirty at all. It was a very good game.
Absolutely. And Jamie, one of the fun things was watching you out there, and you got a pretty long ball, man. The way you strike that ball and send it off. It was fun because, Coach Thunder is out there and he evaluated the guys, and one of the things he told you was where he would put you, just from seeing that one game, where he would love to see you is in the back position, right?
Yeah, and I was actually kind of surprised. Because that's usually where, you have your bigger guys want to be knocking people off the ball, and still winning it fair. But I'll play wherever he wants me to be. I'm going to be ready on the 28th to wherever he wants me to be at.
A thing he mentioned out there was your speed. Your impressive speed. I think you were probably one of the top top 2 or 3 guys out there in speed throughout the whole day, in just pure speed. And he mentioned, I was asking about if it's the forward, because Coach Thunder's the man. He knows a thing or two about forwards, and he mentioned, the reason he liked that is he knows who he wouldn't want to play against, and a speedy back, a small guy would have given him fits. So he kind of understands, I think, the defense part of it, and when he was on the show the other week, he talked about total defense, and that's his main thing is as he says it, total defense is from the strikers to the back position. He wants everyone playing defense. Are you comfortable playing defense if that's where you end up?
Oh yeah, if you saw you could have listened to the game and saw that's where I was more comfortable. I'm definitely the most vocal person out on the field, and I feel like that's the commander spot, is that sweeper spot, and that's where I like to be. I'm not afraid to tell people, what they're doing wrong, but at the same time saying next play, getting in the other team's head, because, when you do that, that's what you accomplish,
Absolutely. So by 20 you wanted to be in England, but you ended up in Myrtle Beach. Not a bad trade-off, I don't think.
No, not too bad. There's good competition in the United States. I just wanted to kind of broaden my horizon.
Absolutely, man. Nobody can blame you for that. And Jamie, you were impressive out there, and we look forward to seeing you on the 28th. I know Coach Thunder's ready for you, and good luck in all your training, man.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Jamie. That was Jamie Baker from GSS. He was out there this past Saturday doing an awesome job trying out in front of Coach Thunder. It's got to be a lot of nerves when you're out there in front of a guy of Coach Thunder's stature playing in the MLS in Charleston Battery and being a coach of his quality. So, yeah, he did a great job. Next week, we're going to have on another special guest and a lot more fun on MySoccerShow.com. Thanks for listening.